everyone, welcome back to another weekly wellness update. This is a wellness update I did not expect to give, maybe ever, but not this quickly. So one thing that I had been toying with for a long time is the idea of giving up coffee, giving up caffeine for a time. And I have been a regular coffee drinker from my early 20s, just pretty much daily coffee drinker. The only times that I've really cut out coffee for any length of time was during the first trimester of my pregnancies. I've had 5 of those. So every, couple of years, I would do my coffee detox during my first trimester of pregnancy and then get back on the coffee wagon after that and then just have it daily. I didn't feel like my consumption was too extreme. I wasn't drinking pots and pots of coffee every day. I was usually doing one first thing in the morning and then one mid-afternoon. And oftentimes that'd be all I'd have. Occasionally I'd have another one in the afternoon, if I was out running around and grab something from Starbucks. So it was 2 or 3 cups of coffee per day, not cups, but, mugs of coffee per day. But similar to alcohol, where it's a good idea every once in a while just to give yourself a detox to make sure that you're not too addicted and that you can, feel what life is like without it again. I just felt like it was time for me to do it again. I did do a detox from coffee one other time besides my pregnancies, and that was back in 2019, right when everyone started staying home, everything was shut down. I was like, okay, this is my opportunity to cut out caffeine and, see how I feel without it. And so I did, and that was actually a really, really bad experience. I have since learned that I had a whole bunch of underlying issues at that point. The main one, or one of the main ones, is iron deficiency. And I think I was using caffeine to mask the exhaustion that you get from being iron deficient. And the caffeine was kind of keeping me propped up. And when I cut that out, I felt the full weight of the exhaustion come crashing down on me. And it was really, really horrible. For about 3 months, I was exhausted. I would, feel like I just couldn't make it through the day without a nap. And if I did lay down to take a nap, I could sleep for 4 hours and get into these really deep stages of sleep where I'm having sleep paralysis and crazy dreams. And then on top of that, I was also having insomnia at night. And I had to do a lot of Googling because I was like, is this really a thing? Giving up caffeine causes insomnia? Because everyone says, after the first couple of weeks, your sleep gets better. That's why you give up coffee. And it turns out that it's actually very, very common for people who are on caffeine every day regularly. Going off of it can cause insomnia. So I was having this deep exhaustion during the day. And, as soon as I started having trouble sleeping at night, of course, I tried to not take a nap during the day, which was, torturous when you're just deeply exhausted to your bones. And so I'd push and push and push to make it to bedtime and go to bed and not be able to sleep. And it probably took 3 months for my body to start to even begin to feel normal and to have a little bit of energy back. I'm not going to say I ever got to the point of feeling really energetic, better than I did when I was on coffee before that. But I did start, it started getting better. So it was about 3 months of that deep exhaustion and insomnia. And then I was off coffee for about 3 months longer after that. But then that's right when we decided to move. And it was a really hectic, crazy time trying to get our house all perfectly ready for the market really fast, because the house we wanted, which is the house we're in now, spoiler alert, it all worked out. We had to move really, really fast to get our house ready when we weren't expecting to move that fast. And so it was just a crazy time. And I went back to coffee at that point, and I used it as a crutch to get through. And then I just continued having it every day since then. So that's been a few years now. And so, like I said, I feel like something that it's just a good idea to every once in a while just detox yourself off of it, kind of prove to yourself that you don't need it to survive and that you're the boss and not it. Although I was really feeling like it was the boss, partly because of how horrible the experience was before of coming off of coffee. I had in my mind that if I wanted to come off of coffee again, I would probably have to go through that same horrible experience again. So it has taken me a really long time to commit to try to do it, and also like trying to find a time where I'm not super busy with a bunch of things that need my full focus and attention, when I expect that I'll be exhausted and wanting to sleep for hours during the day and things like that. So anyways, I finally decided I just needed to take the first steps to start moving towards weaning off the coffee. So a couple weeks ago, I ordered some coffee substitutes. There are so many coffee substitutes out there now. Back when I quit before, I used Dandy Blend, but that has a fair amount of carbs in it for what it is. And so I was looking for other ones, and I landed on Rasa. And if you guys are interested in like a review of their different products, I got a sampler pack. So I tried a bunch of different ones. This is not sponsored or anything like that. But if you guys are interested in hearing like my thoughts on each of those different blends and things, let me know and I could do a separate video on that. But I ordered that because I knew that I needed to replace the coffee with something that I enjoyed. Just trying to take away something that I enjoyed and that I'm like addicted to, and then not replace it with anything. I just knew that would be a recipe for failure. So I went ahead and ordered that. And so it came in the mail, however many days later. And that day that it came in the mail, I had a couple of cups of it, just trying the different blends. And one of my lights just went out. So anyways, we'll just keep on going. So I had a couple of cups, and the Rasa, it's a coffee alternative that's made with all the regular things that coffee alternatives are made out of, like dandelion, burdock, and some of them have cacao in them that adds a tiny, tiny bit of caffeine, but really minuscule amount. But then it also has like adaptogens from mushrooms and things like that that's supposed to really help your body and, get energy, but like a clean energy without the jitters and all of that. So it helps you kind of get over the coffee a little bit easier. So I had a couple cups that first day when it came in the mail. The next morning, I had 1 cup of the blend of Rasa that actually has a little bit of coffee in it. And they say it has 35 milligrams of caffeine per cup. And, normally a cup of coffee, a regular cup of coffee, I think it has 200 milligrams of caffeine. So that's a, much, much, much smaller amount. So I had that in the morning, and I kind of had in my mind that I was going to just wait it out, kind of see how I felt. And then once I started feeling really horrible, I might have a small cup of coffee to get me through the day. And I never felt really terrible, because I'm like thinking back to these times when I felt really terrible getting off coffee, and like the cravings for the coffee just super extreme. And I never really got to that point. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. I did end up having a espresso that afternoon. I did just 1 shot of espresso that was regular, and then I had some decaf espresso as well. And so in that whole day, the first day that I started weaning off the caffeine, I had the 35 milligrams, and a shot of espresso is around 67 milligrams apparently. So I had, somewhere around 100 milligrams of caffeine, which is way cut down from what normally I would do during the day. And I was surprised at how well I functioned, cutting down that much. And then the next day, I just decided to drink the caffeine-free Rasa and just kind of go throughout the day and see how I felt. And if I started feeling really horrible, I'd have, like a minimal amount of caffeine just to kind of bridge the gap and get through. And I never really got to that point. I did have a little bit of a headache, but it was not anything terrible. I've had way worse headaches in my life. I just kind of kept going through the day feeling pretty good, pretty normal. I think I had another cup of the caffeine-free rasa in the afternoon, and I was able to make it through the whole day without any caffeine, except for maybe the tiny, like maybe 5 milligrams from the cacao blend that they have. I think they say it's about 5 milligrams. Anyway, so extremely minimal. And I was just totally in shock that I was feeling as good as I was. And so I just decided to keep going. And it's been about a week now, and I haven't had any caffeinated coffee. A couple of times I've had decaf coffee, which I do know has a tiny bit of caffeine in it. And then I've had the cacao rasa, and I've had some like hot chocolate that has cocoa in it. So there's like a minuscule amount of caffeine in these little drinks. But by and large, I've gone close to caffeine free. I've gone caffeinated coffee free for a week, and I feel good. I actually feel really good. There's been a couple of days where I was tired in the afternoon and I took an afternoon nap. But to be honest, I've been getting tired in the afternoon for a while now and taking afternoon naps even when I am drinking coffee. And so I didn't feel like that was necessarily directly related to getting off the caffeine. My energy has been fairly good. I'm not going to say like I'm bouncing off the walls with way more energy than I was, but it's been good. And one thing that I've kind of noticed is I kind of feel more of an inner calm. And this could be all in my head, but it just feels like I'm able to relax a little bit easier. I'm able to, the other day, my husband started a fire and I was just sitting, started a fire in the fireplace. And I was just sitting in the living room and I could just relax. I didn't feel like I needed to pull out my phone and start scrolling. My mind wasn't like racing through all of these things that I needed to deal with or do. I kind of just felt just a little bit more inner peace. Like I was just able to be still, able to be there and to just enjoy the fire without my mind, thinking about all these other things and, needing to have the phone, entertaining me or anything like that. So I've kind of noticed a little bit like that. It'll be interesting to see moving forward as I, fully detox the caffeine, just kind of like what my brain is like not on caffeine, because there's been very few times in my adult life that I have been off caffeine and not pregnant, because obviously during pregnancy that there's nothing normal going on in your brain during pregnancy, at least not for me. And so it's not a very good measure to, compare to. So it'll be really interesting moving forward to see kind of how I feel, my brain, my calmness. I have noticed a little bit of disturbance in my sleep. There have been a couple of nights where I've woken up at like 2 a.m. and it's taken me a while to fall back asleep. And that is really unusual for me. That almost never happens. So I think that's probably related to the caffeine withdrawal. A couple of nights I felt like it's taken me longer to fall asleep, but nowhere near as bad as it was back in 2019 when I was just having that horrible insomnia. So far it's been manageable, and actually I'm planning to go ahead and start some amino acids. I did a video a couple of years ago, I think it was now, talking about the different amino acids I take whenever I am having sleep issues. And thankfully, I haven't had sleep issues for quite some time, but anytime I travel, I take them with me because I have trouble sleeping when I travel. And since I've had a little bit of messed up sleep, I'm just going to go ahead and start taking those amino acids in the evening. You can go watch that video if you want all of the details on those, but basically the ones that I like to use are GABA, L-tryptophan, and 5-HTP. And if I use those, usually that, knocks out any sleep issues that I might be having. So beyond the sleep stuff, one weird symptom that I've had since quitting caffeine, it actually just started yesterday. And it was yesterday morning, I started having heartburn, which I never have heartburn. I had a little bit in my pregnancies, but very, very minimal. And it's just never been something that I've dealt with. And this morning, same thing in the morning. I just had heartburn about the time when I would have been drinking my coffee in the morning. And I had to do some Googling. And of course, if you search coffee and heartburn, you find all kinds of articles saying that drinking coffee causes heartburn. And I only was able to find a couple little references about coffee withdrawal actually causing heartburn. And I took a little screenshot of a blurb, and I will put it up here on the screen if anyone is curious about it. But there is apparently some mechanism that would cause coffee withdrawal to have an effect on acid reflux or heartburn. So I'm just hoping that my body will balance out here in the next, week or two, and that will resolve itself. But that has been interesting. That's not something that I experienced the last time I cut out coffee. So who knows? It's all kinds of differences. So as far as a time frame, I really don't have anything in my mind as far as a 30-day challenge or 60-day or whatever. I really just want to see how I feel. And anytime I do diet challenges and things like that, it's like my ultimate goal is to see how I feel and see if it's worth it for me to continue whatever, thing I'm challenging myself with. And it's the same with this. I expect kind of where I'm at right now in my mind, and this could change, is I don't want to be dependent on caffeine. Like I would be happy to be able to just not have that be an issue for me. So I do expect that I'll have caffeine again in my life. Like I'm not swearing it off forever, but I expect, and I'm going to try to just have it be a lot more of a rare occasion, having a caffeinated coffee once or twice a week rather than every single day. I think that would just be a good exercise for me, just to keep myself from being dependent on it. And then I'll just kind of go from there and see how I feel and see what's worth it to me. But I am completely shocked and very, very happy with how incredibly easy and fast the transition has been for me to be able to detox the coffee. I did not expect that at all. I was like, I'm going to just start gradually lowering and start gradually, replacing some coffee with the Rasa coffee alternative, and just do it as slow as I need to have it not be so extremely painful. And for it to happen in 2 days, my mind is seriously blown. And I do think that a big reason for the difference is that I have worked so hard on my underlying issues, both my iron issues and my gut issues, that my body is just in so much better of a place than it was back in 2019. And I'm not unmasking all of these underlying things going on by taking away, the crutch that I was using in the caffeine. I feel like my body is at a much healthier place right now. So that's actually really encouraging. Sometimes we can go through our health journey and get to points where we don't remember how far we've come, or we don't really know, we don't have in our minds all of those changes that have happened. And so to have something like this just kind of hit me out of the blue and show me how far I have come and how much healthier I am now than I was, 4 years ago, that's been really encouraging. So anyways, let me know down below your thoughts about coffee. And no judgment, because I have been, and you guys know if you have watched me, I have said so many times, I don't care, I drink coffee, I'm going to keep drinking coffee. I know some people say if you cut it out, good things happen. I don't care. And so if that's where you're at, I totally understand. I also want to throw out that I don't think coffee is bad. I am not cutting it out because I have decided that coffee is on the no list. I think coffee can have some health benefits. I've read lots about that, and I've heard lots of smart people talk about the health benefits of caffeine. But just like everything in our diets, some things can be good for some people in certain situations, and the same things can be bad for other people in other situations. So it depends on the context, and it's one of those things where you don't know unless you try. And so I'm trying, and we'll see how it goes. And, you know, maybe I will decide it's not worth it for me to be off of coffee, and I'll be back on. It is a possibility, but we shall see. It's a journey. Anyways, let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are about the whole coffee caffeine thing. I would love to hear it. Thanks for joining me on this weekly wellness update. I still want to say Wellness Wednesday every time. Hope you guys are all doing well, and I will see you again in the next video.